Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem HaKadosh. Double and the elder apostles of great most on the rule one. Shalom to the brothers who the wax Syrian truth. Um, you just go on the express and basically see, the pathway Trump's kind of been on. It's just continuing, man. Because the big thing's been like in the last week or two is National Guard troops being used. And it says what? Three red states to send hundreds of National Guard troops to DC in Trump escalation. And yeah, and the thing with, the troops being moved, one is draconian legislation and, that martial law, that military rule. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But it's also a matter of normalizing, having the troops out there, and really that, this guy's gonna keep getting away with it. People are resistant, but it seems justifiable. He's saying like, oh, we've got a huge crime problem in DC, where as far as to combat the crime, then we what do you call it? As far as to combat the crime, then we'll kind of deal with that. We need we need to bring this in. It seems justifiable if you're saying like, oh, it's a bit much. Or like, what? So you want how else are you gonna deal with crime, or what? What's the angle then? That's a big way they're kind of pushing it. It's the same thing with as far as a lot of the internet, like locking down the internet, they're saying, oh, you've got children at risk, or when they're dealing with online, there's danger, there's dangers online, and as such, so we need to restrict access to this, restrict access to that. Okay, if you're gonna access that, you're gonna have to slam your ID in, or take a selfie. These things are basically being presented in a way where it's, oh, how you could, it's just helping people, it's just protection. But then what's the fullness of it in reality? It's really about what the elite are desirous, the end goal. What's their end goal? If it doesn't take a lot to kind of get to like, damn, a lot of these decisions being made, in the country, they're not to the benefit of the masses, man. The bulk of the people are not benefiting from these decisions being made, from for this legislation being passed, from the economy functioning as it is. The military-industrial complex, the lie of America policing the world, saving the world, etc. That's been known to be BS from Vietnam. From Vietnam, man, we're like, damn, man, it's just over there melting Ute them. Like, damn. Which is fucking insane. No one's been down with it from there. Like, as far as for my generation, millennial generation, it was the Iraq War. Man saw the Iraq War. It's like, oh, they're like, damn, that Iraq War shit is fucking nuts. Like, man, managed over there doing all sorts, man. Managed to unleash Blackwater, and just Blackwater was just getting up to a madness over there. But it's saving the free world, as they said. But then yeah, it's to DC and Trump escalation. But yeah. Says is what the Trump administration will deploy hundreds of National Guard members from Republican-led states, West Virginia, Ohio, and South Carolina across Washington, D.C. The deployment comes as further escalation of the president's baseless claims that the city is in desperate need of a federal crackdown on crime and homelessness. The move, announced on Saturday, is the latest step in President Donald Trump's campaign to flood the nation's capital with federal law enforcement to combat out-of-control violent crime, a claim that defies evidence. Federal data from January found that violent crime in the area for 2024 was at a 30-year low and down 35% from 2023. Trump has attempted to justify his executive order federalizing local police forces and activating about 800 DC National Guard members as a proportional response to a crime emergency. Some critics have surmised, however, that Trump's calls for a fierce military presence in DC is intended to provoke angry protests in a blue city, which in turn may help grant the Trump administration justification to further escalate force against those who oppose his agenda. And yeah, it's order out of chaos, because you have you basically had the undocumented what would you call it, the illegals, the illegal border crossing, whatever. These things essentially have been facilitated by what do you call it? These things have been facilitated by the U.S. government. Is basically, these different leaders have allowed these things to go on as far as, because they rub shoulders with a lot of these business owners, the globalist business types, where for them dirt cheap labor's to their benefit, as a big part of how they kind of make a lot of profit, how they're sustaining themselves in the long term. Which then you then have to think like, okay, so these men how the fuck are these men been getting in? How the fuck are they been no border thing the whole time? And then where are they working? There's all these guys out coming, crossing over. They can't speak English, and they ain't got no documentation. But then they're fucking, they're making bank, and they're setting up lives, because why, it was facilitated as far as it's to their benefit. Now they're like, oh, don't think about the government policy. Don't think about these businesses utilizing it. Don't think about all these things that happened that have made it, like, essentially the thing is from the beginning, the elite have been against, the average peon American, man. The average low-level base American. And, that's just one of the aspects of it. But by and large, it's just because now, they're being, they're sending in ICE, to gunbutt them around the forehead. They're sending in some super amped up, 27-year-old on steroids, to go and some amped 27-year-old on steroids, some juicer to go and roid rage all over them. Like, get him out! That doesn't then mean, that now the the U.S. government's going to be doing things to your benefit. In fact, it's the complete opposite. Because says what? It's a rule of oppression. Occupying forces come from areas outside the occupied territory. One Reddit user commented in response to the announcement. I don't know why you have to go to some Reddit user to get a quote, man. The DC National Guard live in the area, having family living there, and know the local culture. The troops from WV only know what they see on the news and feel no connection to the local people, so it's easier to act as an oppressor rather than a sympathizer. Yeah, and even with it, it's regardless, that when you're dealing with the military processes, that's just essentially a different lifestyle, different arena, than dealing with the regular troops. They're militarizing the cops, but then military process, like the military just gets dealt with completely differently. Going against orders in the military, that starts getting peak. Let's start with this one first. Revelation 12:12 says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devils come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." And yeah, that's the fullness of it, man. These guys essentially, Trump's really that cruel lord. This putting the smackdown, man, and utilizing force, because he's that personification of Esau's pomp and pride. It's it's not really a marvel. He's just gonna come down with a hammer, man, and like it too, Rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devils come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Yeah, and it's close. It's at the end. This guy's basically been released. Like in what? Was it Jason Argonauts? No, it was a release. Clash of the Titans. Clash of the Titans, man. Release the Kraken, man. This guy got released like the Kraken, to just go and wreak havoc. Because why? That chaos. Like they said, it's bringing in a certain level of force. You're gonna get a reaction from the people, and then that lets you bring in further force. Lets you be like justify, like, oh, okay, well, is that so you responded to okay, but okay, we need to bring in more troops. We need to lock it down. We need to put a curfew out. It's too erratic. It's too dangerous. These are the things that they can do. But then what? It'll get even further, even more contentious. 2 Esdras 15:15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And yeah, it's as these things are closing in. The reason why people are feeling antsy in the first place is because what? It's the cost of living, cost of food, prospects in life. There's all these things within the system where people kind of turn and look and like, damn, like what the fuck's going on here? So it's meant to be an American dream, man. It's meant to be, what is it, Belinda Carlisle, man. I'm finding it hard to believe I'm in heaven. It's meant to be heaven out here, man. These guys are meant to be on top. Like, it's meant to be good. Like, motherfucker be like, yo, I was born in America. Meant to be, meant to have the advantages of being a national. You get an education, you get a job, and then, but, before 30, you're making fucking, 6 figures plus. Like, life's meant to be sweet, but alas, those things are all gone. So they're just gonna be, hey, yo, fuck this, man. These guys ain't watching for us. And then even, people that voted for Trump are feeling that way. Because why? You got these, Northern Kingdom man, them that voted for him. And, they're just getting grabbed up. That 27-year-old steroid abusing ICE officers coming in, bursting through the front door saying, "Get on the fucking ground!" but he's American, so it's like, get on that ground right now. You goddamn, you country stealing, border crossing ass. You know, he's saying get on the ground. Because why? He's thinking like, yeah, now America's gonna be great again. But it's all prophecy, man. And the establishing that baseline of draconian use of force, then makes when further and further escalations happen, it's more and more justified to be okay. We got to do more than that. So okay, we can't just have troops out. We're gonna have stop and search and whatnot and blah blah blah. It says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So yeah, because of their pride, man. And that's the origin, that's the thing, is the baseline of the American existence, is that pride, man. These guys thinking, we're gonna we're gonna decimate the chosen people. We're gonna take their land, we're gonna take more of the chosen from over there, slam them into America, and utilize them as a resource, as a product, to then get up in the world, to build ourselves up, which they did, and it was to their benefit. But that pride, that thinking really like, oh, there's gonna be no recompense, it's not gonna come around, that's to your doom, to your demise. You're scrambling, doing all forms of actions with why the prophets are out there. It's becoming clear. It's like, damn, this shit ain't gonna run, man. Like, what we gonna? They're just like, fuck it, just slamming every button, cranking every dial to the max, like just unleash everything, man. They got no time. They need to get this shit popping, man. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom.